all I mean by a billing backslide is it's a relapse into some old problematic billing behaviors or habits, even though it's your intention to have better billing habits, to bill contemporaneously, to not underbill, any of those better billing habits that you want. So it really just is this temporary relapse. And it can happen in a minute or it can happen over a long period of time. So you know you're in a backslide if you're possibly missing an hour or two of your time. Maybe you started work at 9, now it's 11 o'clock, and you just realize, oh, I haven't billed any time. So in that moment, when you realize you have that backslide, there's really just going to be three things that you do. It's to allow the slide to have happened, not to beat yourself up, not to criticize yourself. Tell yourself, what's happening in this moment. Oh, this is why it happened. So just allow it to have happened versus resisting it. That's always the first step so that you don't increase the chances of that slide getting bigger, because we always want to create better feelings around billing. And if you do that first initial step, I promise it'll really help to slow the slide. And then you can just acknowledge. The second step is to just acknowledge, okay, what happened? I got a little busy. I didn't make room to bill. Maybe I was resisting having to bill in the moment. So you just kind of acknowledge that it happened, no big deal. And then you want to get to that place of curiosity versus beating yourself up. So instead of like, oh, I can't believe this happened. I thought I was doing better. I guess not going to get this. Instead, you just want to get curious about it. Like, what happened there? Right? No big deal. In a tone that doesn't feel like criticism, like you're doing something wrong. Because if you feel like you're criticizing yourself, if you feel like you did something wrong, then you are more likely going to continue the slide, not understand why it happened, and not get any better at stopping the next backslide, or at least slowing the next backslide. So missing hours, or maybe an entire day, maybe that's your backslide. Maybe you're delaying putting your time in till later. Obviously, that's always the excuse. I'll do it later. Maybe you didn't capture all of it, incomplete tracking. Maybe capturing some of it, but not all of it. I would also consider that a backslide. Say you captured the brief you just did, but you didn't capture the email that you sent out to send out the brief. That could also be a little slide. Or just reverting to end of the day or end of the week. So it could be really small. It could be very big. No matter what it is, I really want to encourage all of you guys to follow the same 3 steps. I'm going to dive deep into that in a minute. So remember, when you wait till the end of the day to bill your time, you lose at least an hour. Typically, that's because you just forget. You forget what you did. So the reason you want to stop the backslide sooner is so that you don't miss that forgotten time. And also at the end of the day, you are more likely to underbill your time because you're like, oh, there's no way it took 2 hours. It definitely only took 1. So you could be missing as much as 2 hours every day if you wait till the end of the day. So that's why it's really important to catch these backslides as soon as you can, or as soon as you generate awareness around that it's happening. Okay. The 5 common backslide patterns, the busy day one. I'm too swamped now to bill, too busy. That's definitely a common one. So if you hear your brain say that, then you'll know, oh, this is one of the common excuses for why I go into a backslide. Or when you're doing those self-evaluations at the end of the day, and you're like, okay, what worked? This was great. This was great. What didn't work? I told myself I was too busy to bill. I was too swamped to bill right now. So that could be one of the thoughts that you work on the next day. So the next day, if I hear myself say that, I'm too swamped to bill right now, we're going to next best thought it. What if it's possible that I could just get some billing in right now, even though I'm busy, even though I'm a little swamped? We just want to create a little bit less pressure around billing. And that could be the thought that helps you take the action of getting your time in. Number 2, the interrupted flow. So my concentration is broken. I'll bill later. So somebody interrupts you or you get a distraction. That can be a common excuse for not billing. I have too many things going on. Everything's interrupting me and I don't have time to bill. Tomorrow will be better, right? Or I'll get on track tomorrow. That's that perfectionistic fantasy of I'm going to somehow have more time, be less overwhelmed, have all of this space to get my billing in, and it just typically is not true. So if you hear yourself telling yourself, and I used to do this all the time, I'll do it tomorrow morning, I'll do it tomorrow morning. Just tell yourself, this is one of the excuses my brain comes up with. This is typically what leads me to create a bigger slide, a bigger billing backslide that I want to. And what if it's possible that I could do the billing right now? Not perfect, but at least I'm just going to start it. At least I'm just going to get one entry in or two entries in versus relying on tomorrow's version of me to get it all in and relying on the circumstances to line up in a way tomorrow where it's going to be easy to get it all in, knowing that that's probably not going to be the case. The just one more slide, I'll finish this task first, and then I'm going to get everything billed. And that typically leads to, okay, the next one, I'm going to do another thing, and then I'm going to bill it. Well, let me just get this email, and then I'll bill for it. Oh, wait, one more email, and then I'll bill for it. This is another thing that typically leads to another backslide. So I just want you to check in to see if this is something your brain offers to you to keep pushing the billing, kicking the can down the road, right? Pushing it farther and farther off. It's like, let me just get this one more thing done. And then you don't do it. And one more thing done and don't do it. And then the perfect time. This is kind of similar to tomorrow will be better. The perfect time slide is I'm just going to wait for that moment. There's going to be this moment. I'm sure of it sometime today to catch up on my billing. If you hear your brain saying, I'm just going to have this quiet moment to build my time, you may be waiting a long time because if your day is packed with calls, emails, no quiet time, unless you actually set up a quiet time, if you set and block off on your calendar 20 minutes to bill at 11 o'clock, then that's a little bit different versus just hoping and praying that you're going to have some quieter time or a less busy time today to bill your time. So there's a little bit of a distinction between actually blocking off time on your calendar and just hoping that you'll have that time. So these are some of the common ones. These were all the ones that came up for me when I was doing this work around what are some of the excuses, what are some of the common reasons why I backslide, and then also taken from the clients that I've had over the years. So we all know about the 4-step process to change. I'm going to apply it here to billing backslides. So number 1 is noticing. We all know that. Notice, acknowledge the backslide happened. And I have a lot of people ask me, well, what happens if I don't notice? Well, that's part of the reason I have the backslide is I don't notice that the slide had happened. So now that you have this 4-step process, now that your brain is thinking about billing more, changing your billing habits, I promise you will notice when you are in a slide more often than maybe past version of you when you just waited till the end of the day or the end of the week to bill. So when you practice noticing, and you can even put a little sticky note somewhere that has notice, narrate, normalize, next best thought. And if your eye glances to it here and there, that could be a time that you check in on your billing habits. But over time, the more important you make your billing, I promise the more you'll notice when you're not making it important, when you're not contemporaneously billing. So the first step of noticing is just doing that over and over and over. And when you build that contemporaneous habit, you really can't help but notice. And typically what happens is when you notice it, maybe old you would have just beat yourself up and then given yourself an excuse and then not done it. So that your brain was like, well, I don't want to notice. I don't want to notice when I'm in a slide because that feels bad. Because typically I beat myself up and I tell myself I'm doing a terrible job billing my time and contemporaneously billing. But when you notice and then narrate and normalize and you do these 3 steps versus notice and then beat yourself up, it's very different. So your brain will want to notice more instead of not wanting to notice. When you notice, narrate, and normalize that it happened. Don't beat yourself up. Allow it to have happened versus resisting it. Get curious versus criticizing. It's such a different feeling that when you do notice backslides going forward, your brain isn't going to want to resist it. It's going to be like, remember, we can notice it, narrate, normalize, and actually feel better about it and do something about it versus having it get bigger. So it's a very different way to think about it, feel about it, and change it. So notice it, narrate, So this is when you're describing, okay, it's kind of like what happened. No big deal. This is how it happened. Let's like go back and see. Oh, I got a little distracted. Oh, I got a little busy. Oh, I didn't make space and room in my calendar to bill for that. Oh, I was confused. I didn't know how to bill for it. And I didn't like that feeling of confusion. So I was like, I'll just bill it later. I'll figure it out later. It's so good to generate awareness around all the potential reasons why you had that little slide or big slide, whatever it is. And then normalize it. This is the of course part. It's like, oh, of course. I had some default thinking, some default negative thoughts about billing. Like, of course I had a slide. My brain didn't want to do the billing in the moment. Or I underbilled some time, or I confusion cut some time. It applies to all of it. Specifically here, it's like, okay, the backslide is 3 hours. Of course, I got really busy and I felt that urgency and I didn't do anything about it. I didn't shift my thoughts about the urgency. So that's why I didn't get any billing done. That's why I have the slide. And then next best thought. And this is always the hardest part because your brain's going to want to resist it. It's like, no, but it's true. I'm too busy to bill right now. This is a fact. And so you always just want to keep reminding your brain, it's not a fact. It's always a thought. You can create space to bill. And here, how is it possible? Just open the door slightly to the possibility that you can get at least one entry in or bill for the last thing that you did. And it just feels better than that urgency. I got to get to the next email. I got to get to the next work or whatever it is. So choose a believable next best thought. Use those bridge thoughts and opening phrases worksheet to grab some opening phrases so that you can feel better and take that action of billing in the moment and create that result. And the more you create results of you slowing the slide, the easier it'll be for your brain to do this process the next time and the next time and the next time, seeing how it works. So this is what I was talking about, those 3 steps, the 3 decisions, and they're a very intentional decision to slow the slide, to ultimately stop it, and to start again. Slow, stop, start again. So first, allow it versus resist it. Allow the backslide, accept it to free yourself to address it. And that is the biggest key. It's the biggest takeaway. So if you are beating yourself up, even just slightly for it, I promise it's so hard to get back into the flow of contemporaneously billing. So you do need to take a minute or two to just allow it to have happened versus resisting it versus beating yourself up. And this will really set you free. It'll help the slide to slow so that it ultimately stops. And the second step is to give it different meaning. Instead of like, I suck at this, or I should have done better, or I can't believe I did that. It's like, what if this is just a learning opportunity? What if there's actually gold in this? What if I could find more opportunities for me to get better at my billing habits, get better at contemporaneously billing my time because of this slide? And I actually think that's more true. I think that the failures, the slides, they're always opportunities. There's gold in there if you are allowing yourself to look for it. And usually the gold is the obstacle. It's like, oh, it's because of the distractions. Oh, it's because I felt so much urgency around responding to emails. Those are all the obstacles that you face, whatever they are for you, in getting to that easier contemporaneous timekeeping habit. So all of those are opportunities to look and see what are the excuses, what are the obstacles. So you can assign very different meaning to all of your backslides. And then if you can get to that place of curiosity versus criticism, ask yourself, what happened right before I stopped billing? What was it that happened that made the slides start? Was it a phone call that came in that lasted a little bit longer because I didn't end it 5 minutes early to get that billing in, and that was the reason? Or was it I just was doing back to back to back tasks without even thinking about billing? And that could be as simple as what it was. But in order to get to that answer, you have to allow the slide, assign it new meaning, and then get curious about it. And those steps are a lot easier to take if you are in that space of allowing versus resisting. You're in that space of looking for the gold versus beating yourself up. It's so hard to try to do these 3 steps to slow the slide when your brain is on default and telling yourself you suck at this and you're never going to get it. When you are in that place of curiosity too, you can even ask yourself, so what's actually working well? Before I started the backslide, what was I doing well? Maybe I got a couple hours in of billing, or maybe I did cringe and count all my time here, or maybe I did get curious and capture some time that I normally wouldn't have. You want to get into that space of things actually are going pretty well, and then you can even get better from there. Also, what one adjustment would make billing easier in this moment? You can ask yourself that question. And because you're in a space of curiosity, your brain will likely offer you some really good solutions to that question, really good answers to that question.
Your timekeepers are losing at least 10 billable hours every week to procrastination, under-recording time, and skipping billing for tasks that are absolutely billable. And most of them don't even realize it. They're not cutting corners on purpose. They just don't know what they don't know. That's not a talent problem. It's a training problem. Molly's Bill Your Time Today firm-wide billing training programs will fix that. Your timekeepers will learn how to capture their time, articulate the real value of their work, and bill with confidence. No more reconstructed time. No more money left on the table. Visit thebillingcoach.com to bring her proven billing training programs to your team. It's time.